Hello everyone, welcome to Yorkshire Gamer's Monthly Wargames update, and here we are in February 2022. It's our usual mix. We've got some new units to look at, we've got some new purchases, a bit of gaming, some work in progress, and then our usual chat about all things Yorkshire Gamer, a shout out, and looking forward to the future. So get yourself a cup of tea, sit yourself down, and it's probably raining outside anyway, so you don't want to be going out, you want to be watching this monthly update. So let's have a look what we've painted. So as usual, the first unit that we're going to look at today is the Twerk in progress from last month. This is another unit of 28mm Gringo 40s Garibaldi troops. Another battalion of 24, and if you remember from last month, these are all in a march attack pose. The theme for this one, I've done like a darker blue trousers. I've spoken about this in previous videos about how I like to have some sort of way of recognising each unit to help when clearing away at a table, and also for tabletop recognition as well. You know, if it loses a base, the base gets put to one side, and then at the end of the battle you've got to try and put it all back together. So that's why I like to have a running theme through each unit, just to help me put them back together when the end of a battle comes. I've got another couple of these to do, and then I'm going to order some more. But they are absolutely fantastic. So we'll just zoom in and have a look at one of the bases in close proximity. So there we go. You should be quite used to these Gringo 40 figures by now. They are lovely. They are really, really nice. Again, as I said before, they're slightly bigger than most other manufacturers, but altogether in a unit they look absolutely superb. So we'll just give that a twirl, as they used to say on Generation Game, wasn't it? Brucey with Anthea, give us a twirl, give us a twirl. There we go, there's that unit of Garibaldi. I've had a bit of a rough month at work, so I haven't got through as much as I normally would do. So there's this one finished, and then there's one more unit that we've got to look at. So here we go, here's the second painted unit, and these are Garibaldi, but as you can see, they're slightly different to the red shirts that we've already painted, and they're not Gringo 40 either. So these are 28mm Perry miniatures, the metal, and they're from the British Interventionary Force range, which was kind of a what would the British Army look like if they'd gone into and joined the American Civil War. So it's a very, very similar time period. Remember, Mentana is 1867, so we're in the ballpark for the American Civil War. So with Garibaldi and the Italian Wars of Independence, there's not a lot of choice with figures, and you've got to improvise somewhere with some of these units, and some of the units had distinctive uniforms that I may be able to get from Shaco 64 in Italy, but the Italian postage is not particularly brilliant, so I don't want to risk that if I really can help it. So I saw these figures a long time ago, and then I thought, you know what, I know something I can use for this particular battalion. So the Dunne Battalion was raised in Palmero for the Garibaldi cause, and it was raised by a bunch of British officers and with local volunteers, and it's believed that it was was one of the better equipped units, financially supported by its British officers, which I'm suggesting would have had a few quid in the back pocket and doing a bit of adventure soldiering, as was the way in those days. So they've got a Kilmarnock type hat on, which is kind of the standard for the British Army at the time, and that's red with a green bobble. There is an alternative of a white with a red bobble, or is it white with green? Can't remember. Anyway, I'm going to do another battalion of these with that variation. All white uniform with green facings. So we'll have a look at one of these bases, and we'll have a little chat about the cheat that we've done. So here is, apologies for the little shake. I'm just doing it off a tripod today, and so these are close up, and if you look across the left shoulder, there's what appears to be a grey blanket roll, but it isn't. These figures they've got quite wide straps, so I've just painted those as if they were a grey blanket roll, and to me it looks alright. I'm sure somebody will moan somewhere on the internet and that's wrong, but for me it works. It's a painting conversion. I'm absolutely crap at modelling, I've told you before, so I'm not going to even attempt putting green stuff on them because they're just going to look like a melted chocolate cake in the summer sun. So that's a close-up of the unit. I'll put some nice sergeant stripes on that guy there. Like these a lot. I think the colours are quite striking. The change of colours, very different to the red of the standard Garibaldi red shirts. And I'm going to do another battalion of these, like I said. So that's all we've painted this month. Let's have a look at Twerk in progress. So here we go. Here's the Twerk in progress, and we've got 28mm, Gringo 40, Garibaldi Bersaglieri, and a different uniform again to the normal red shirts. And you can probably see the quite distinctive Bersaglieri black hats and dark feathered plumes, which are still used today. Quite famous Italian headwear. So these are nearly finished. They just need to be based and a little bit of work done on some of the painting, but they are very, very nearly finished. And we'll just zoom in and have a look at one of the individual bases. So first thing you'll notice with these is they're slightly differently based. They're on 60 by 30 bases and 2 figures to the base. That's just to represent a skirmish order, and I'll be doing some more troops in this particular formation as we go along with the project. They look, as I say, more or less done, but they are very shiny. I don't often use overall washes, but I have on the green of the uniform of these guys. That's still very shiny from the wash, so it's waiting a couple of coats of matte varnish to dull that down, and then it's waiting to be based in the normal manner. Nice faces on these, a bit of a dull drab uniform, but yeah, another unit rolls off the production line for the great Garibaldi project. So let's have a look what we've bought. How much? How much? Well, we've not spent much this month, which for me is quite good. I normally budget to spend, and this might be a lot for some, it certainly isn't a lot for some people I know. I spend about £100 a month on wargaming, and I'm fortunate. I'm in my mid-50s, relatively successful in my career. I've got spare money, and I didn't have that when I was young, and I'm enjoying it now, and I'm not going to apologise for it. It just happens to be that I'm a lucky boy, and I get to spend a lot of time and a lot of money on wargaming, and I do try and inspire people with what I do. So I'm not belittling anyone who can't afford that sort of money a month, and believe me, there are people who spend a lot more than that, and most of them are guests on my podcast. So, what have we bought this month? Well, we've bought these, and any wargamer will know the joy of these little boxes when they arrive through the letterbox, and they are, of course, Perry's Miniatures. And the unit that we looked at earlier on, the Dunne Battalion, I've got some more of the British Interventionary Force, and this one has actually got a bent musket, but don't worry about that. It's got a bit of a proper over-the-shoulder blanket roll, and I've got a lot of it's kind of got like a bigger blanket in the back as well, hasn't it? So but yeah, I'm quite happy with these, as I said, to paint them up as another Dunne Battalion. It's got 24 of these, and I've got 2 boxes of the kneeling firing unit. pose. And as with always with Perry's, every single figure is slightly different. And then I've got another 6 standing, either loading or standing and firing. And as we say, I've actually got a blanket roll to paint with these rather than making up as we go along. And in the final box here, we've got the command section, and a couple of sergeants, and drummer, and a couple of standard bearers, and some officers. Fantastic Perry sculpts as always, can never complain about these. So when this you see this battalion done, it's going to have a line stood at the back with the command and the standing loading, standing firing, and then the front rank is going to be kneeling or kneeling firing. So I'm quite looking forward to how this unit comes out. That's going to be pretty good, I think. And then I wasn't just buying 4 boxes from the Perrys, that would be a shame. So I've bought some of these. This is more British Interventionary Force, and I think it was the Lancer Command, I can't particularly remember. But what these guys are going to be is I'm going to do a command base for my Dunne battalions. So they've got the same hat, approximately the same uniform, nothing that I can't do with a bit of paint to make it look the same. So that's going to be a nice little command base for the Dunne battalion. Speaking of command bases, we said earlier on, or I said earlier on, that one has to improvise a little bit with Italian Wars of Independence, and we're definitely doing that here, because we've stayed with the Perrys, but we've gone to the War of the Triple Alliance set now, and I don't know which order these are in. So this is TA-27. So I've got some of these guys, so they're kind of... they've got shakos, kepis, and sack coats. This guy here, he's going to be absolutely perfect for a papal officer. I've got a picture of General Kranzer, who was one of the papal, or head of the papal forces at Mentana, and that previous figure just looks the business. It looks exactly the same as him. And the officers have got square cut horse furniture, which is exactly what they would have. So TA-27 is 1 box. TA-30 is another, and these are like, I think they're like Brazilian officers, Paraguayan officers, Uruguayan officers. I can't particularly remember. But again, what a fantastic figure that is. What a fantastic figure. You see, he's got baggy trousers, so he dropped him. He survived. He is going to be a mounted officer for the Papal Zouaves, and again, similar thing. Lovely action pose there. Yeah, he's going to be leading my Papal Zouaves going forward, and we've got the bugler there. So probably what I'll do with that box is I'll take his sword off, turn it into a flag, have him as my Papal Zouave commander, and Bob's your uncle. Nice little base there. And then the final one I've bought is TA-50. Again, just have a look at the Perry site and see what these are. But lovely guy on his horse there. Again, baggy trousers and kepi. And these are absolutely perfect for general papal officers. And looking forward to getting these done and fighting for El Papa. So there we go. That's what we bought this month. Just the one purchase from Perry's. And I'll probably get a couple of more Gringo 40 battalions next month. I haven't got my own anything else at the moment. Nothing bubbling under, so to speak. I'm still cracking on with the Garibaldi project, and there's still quite a few figures and stuff that I want to buy to bring that up to date. So there we go. That's what we've bought this month. I said that's everything I bought last month. It isn't. I forgot. I went to Wapentak the York Wargames show. Had a great day. Met up with Sean Clark from God's Own Scale. First time we've met in person. We had a lovely chat for an hour, chewing the fat. Fantastic. And met up with my old mate Alex Stormsteel as well. And loads of people from Leeds Wargames Club. Had a chat with a few people who watch the channel. I always wear my blue Yorkshire Gamer t-shirt when I'm on my show. Please come up and have a chat with us. Always happy to talk. But I forgot, I bought some stuff at Vapentac. So what did I buy? I bought these. Dave Thomas, bless him, who takes the Perry stuff around the shows. I have got some French chasseurs à pied from the Franco-Prussian War. Now, for the Battle of Montana, there was 5 French battalions there, a little bit of cavalry, a little bit of artillery as well. So I'm going to use the Franco-Prussian range, but I'm stuck because I'm waiting for the Perrys to get the finger out and get the plastic French infantry out. But they have got the metal chasseurs, so these are similar size units to the Garibaldi stuff in that they're going to be 24 figures per unit. So I've got advancing op guys and command section, and also some skirmish. So they're going to be 24 figures with 6-figure skirmishing on top. So that's what I bought from Dave Thomas. I also had a little trip to Crooked Dice. So if you've not seen the Crooked Dice stuff, it's absolutely amazing, absolutely brilliant stuff. And I bought a couple of packs. I have got a lot of their stuff, so there isn't much I haven't. But I've got these guys here, Heroes 3-pack. The ladies at the top there, they're looking particularly 70s, so they'll work great with my Sweeney stuff. The bottom 2, kind of like a modern Sherlock Holmes, I would suggest. But this guy on the right here, I think I'm going to be able to paint him up and give him a bit of a Sergeant Carter from the Sweeney. I think that's going to be what I'm going to do with that figure. And maybe even do a head swap on old Mr. Cumberbatch there. Put a bald-headed guy on and do him as Chief Inspector Haskins from the Sweeney as well. So I bought those, and I also bought these guys as well, these government agents. And obviously the Trilby hat is not particularly Sweeney, but head swaps on these guys is going to give me another 3 or 4 kind of CID types. So they'll be painted God knows when, but great figures. Always love Crooked Dice stuff. The one skirmish game that I do, everything, if I can get it from Crooked Dice, I will do. So big shout out for 7TV and Carl Periton, is it? At Crooked Dice. Great figures, mate. Thanks very much. So we are going to have a look at the scores on the doors now. So I've finally managed to get my backside in gear and get down to the club over the last couple of weeks. And 2 weeks ago I managed to have a game of my Sweeney set up using 7TV rules with a mix of Geezer's Shut It thrown in, just to give them that extra 1970s cop show vibe. And it was an absolutely fantastic game, really enjoyable. Had a great narrative. We set it off with a group of guys doing a blag on a jeweller store on the high street, and we had a really exciting chase down the road with people being knocked over and cars being turned over, and then in the end the bad guys managed to break into Arthur Daly's car lot, would you believe, and steal some keys for a car and make good their getaway. What a game. Last week did some Crusades, 28mm Crusades, using the Soldiers of God rule set. No one we've not tried before. Enjoyed the card activation very much, some nice moves there. The rules themselves found a little bit basic, but enjoyable. We had a good game, quite close. The Crusade forces weren't the uber stuff that they normally were. It was quite evenly balanced, and it must be good because we're going to give it another go this week down the club and use some slightly bigger forces.
I'm not sure yet whether it's going to work for our big games because of the way the activation works, but in general, I was quite impressed and enjoyed the game.
Let's have a look at the monthly scores on the doors. And Facebook up 26, a little bit of a jump this month. It's been 10, 15 or so for years. Twitter's up 58. That's slowed down quite a lot now since I've gone over 2,000, but everyone is welcome. Instagram up 91, over 3,000. Amazed at how and why that's happened. Another little jump in the YouTube's up 49, and the podcast is up 15, which doesn't sound a lot, but in podcast terms, that's a huge jump because normally it's just a couple of 3 people who are very, very welcome to join every month. But there might be a reason for that. So let's have a look at why that might have happened.
So for the shout out this month, it's something a little bit different. It's a channel I've recently discovered in the last couple of months called Red Current, and on there it's got quite a lot of old school war books, war novels, and you're looking at that. It's got Storm of Steel on there. It's got had some Cornelius Riot stuff on there last time I looked as well. So some great audio books about World War II, well worth a look. On the blog, not much happening this month apart from this here. I've done a troops on parade of the Turkish World War I troops that you'll always be familiar with if you're a regular viewer of Yorkshire Gamer. I managed to get them all out on the table and do a blog post on them, get some photographs done, and also get a YouTube video done. It's fairly short, 15 minutes or so, but I just review all the figures that I've got, get them out on the table, which is always a joy to do, and have a look at them. So if you've not seen that yet, bob down to the YouTube channel and check that out. This month on the podcast, I was delighted to speak to Jerry Elliott, former of the Wargames Holiday Centre. He was there for 17 years after Peter Gilder had it with Mike Ingram. And he's got his own massive setup now called the Situation Room, where he's got 100,000, and yes, that's 100,000 10mm figures where he plays massive Napoleonic games. So give that a listen on Podbean or elsewhere.
That just leaves me to say thank you very much everyone for watching. Great news about being nominated in the Best Podcast section for the Caesar Awards. Fingers crossed for that. The award ceremony is in March, so not that far away now. And fingers crossed for myself, and good luck to all the other people who have been nominated for categories. Alex, who comes on here, Storm of Steel, he's been nominated. And then the other podcasts who've been nominated in the same category as me, Two Fat Lardies and the Plastic Crack podcast. So Ken and Dom, who were on the show a couple of episodes ago. So best of luck, everyone, and let's see who wins in a couple of weeks' time. Personally, hoping to get some more gaming done. Have you seen I've done a couple of games last month, and I'm hoping to open up the Yorkshire Wargames Wargaming Room again this Sunday. Not sure what we're going to do yet, but we'll try and get a game going and get the people back and get this room coming to life again, which would be absolutely fantastic. And just a little story before we go. These ships that you're looking at are rather remarkable in that they were painted. I painted these for my friend Ian 27 years ago, and gave them to them, handed them over, and we never actually got to game with them. He had them on his mantelpiece on display for a while, and we just hadn't done a Napoleonic naval game to use them in. But then he moved house, and this is 27 years ago, and well, 25 years ago he probably moved house, and he lost them, would you believe? And for the last 25 years we've always been laughing and joking about where the hell are those Danish ships, and would you believe they turned up 2 weeks ago, and Ian brought them along to the Leeds War Games Club and gave them back to me for me to keep at safekeeping here with all my other collection of Napoleonic ships. And I'm just amazed at the condition they're in, and it also it just brought to light to me how there are some very strange people on the internet. I don't think you can probably see on here, but there's a little bit of dust on the rigging, and some guy on the internet reckoned that my friend had not really lost them because there was dust on them, so they couldn't have been in a box, and he's just hidden them away for 25 years and then given them me back. I can see why the JFK conspiracy keeps going for... how long are we now since JFK? 60 years? 70 years? Bloody hell. Anyway, that's how conspiracies start. These have been lost for 25 years and found and given back to me. There's no major secret behind the story, trust me. So thanks very much for listening, and we'll be back next month and with another update. And keep an eye on all the Yorkshire formats, the Twitter and Facebook, etc., for all the latest updates. So thanks once again for listening. Over 900 people watched last month to date when I've recorded this, and that is amazing. So thanks very much, everyone. Till next month. See you.